The extractors made two critical mistakes. First, they assumed humanity's late-night infomercial broadcasts were a primary form of communication. Second, they thought a species that invented the snooze button couldn't possibly be dangerous. Commander Zixis Theta of the Extractor Fleet reviewed the reconnaissance data for the 100th time, his four brains working in perfect synchronization. Confirm the readings. The humans are unconscious for 1/3 of their rotational cycle. Confirm, his science officer replied, tendrils waving in amusement. They call it sleep. They literally shut down their consciousness and hallucinate. Sometimes they forget to set alarms and miss important events. Incredible. 6 Theta's bioluminescent patches flickered with greed. And their mineral deposits, rich beyond measure. Lithium, rare earths, even naturally occurring pizza. That last one can't be right. The translator insists, sir. Earth's mineral wealth was legendary, but so was humanity's reputation for being difficult. Other species had tried trading only to get bogged down in negotiations that somehow involved sports metaphors and something called synergy. The extractors had a simpler plan. Wait until the night cycle, when the humans were unconscious, and simply take what they needed. After all, what kind of species left themselves vulnerable for 8 hours a day? The first raids were textbook perfect. Extractor ships cloaked in technology that bent light around them like a shy teenager at a school dance, descended on mineral-rich areas during peak sleep hours. They targeted isolated regions first, the Australian outback, the Sahara, northern Canada, places where the few humans present were definitely asleep, probably dreaming about whatever humans dreamed about. The extractor's xenopsychologist suggested it was mostly about showing up to work naked, which seemed like a very specific anxiety. For 3 months, the operation ran smoother than a quantum lubricant. Tons of minerals extracted, no humans the wiser. The extractors even started getting cocky, taking minerals from areas closer to population centers. Their scans showed humans in deep sleep cycles, occasional movement that their computers identified as sleepwalking or midnight snack retrieval. They should have wondered why a supposedly unconscious species had so many 24-hour establishments. The revelation came, as most revelations do, at the worst possible moment. Extraction Team 7 was hovering over what their charts labeled as New York City, their cargo holds nearly full of extracted minerals from Central Park. Apparently, humans hid valuable resources under decorative green spaces. Sir, the pilot said, confusion tinting his bioluminescence, I'm reading massive energy signatures throughout the city. At 3 a.m. local time? Impossible. Check your instruments. That's when they saw her, a human female, definitely not asleep, standing on a rooftop. She wore red, because apparently that was becoming a thing, and held what looked like a primitive projectile weapon. Is she aiming at us? The science officer asked. The answer came in the form of a rocket-propelled grenade that shouldn't have been able to penetrate their shields, but did anyway, because humans had figured out that extractor shields operated on the same frequency as their Wi-Fi routers. Across the city, lights blazed to life, not the slow, groggy awakening of a disturbed species, but the coordinated activation of a civilization that had been waiting. Surprise, motherfuckers! Boomed across all communication channels in perfect extractor dialect, which was disturbing since it required 3 tongues and a specialized gas bladder to speak properly. Turns out humans hadn't been sleeping. Well, not all of them. Earth operated on something called shifts, a concept so alien to the extractor's hive mind synchronization that they'd simply edited it out of their analysis as a translation error. While millions slept, millions more worked. Night shifts, emergency services, insomniacs, gamers, and a surprising number of people who just like to stand on rooftops with rocket launchers, just in case aliens tried something stupid. The global response was swift, coordinated, and utterly human in its chaos. In Texas, cattle ranchers who'd been sleeping in their trucks opened fire with railguns they'd bought at surplus stores. In Japan, salarymen who'd been unconscious at their desks activated defense protocols they'd been drilling in what the extractors had assumed were dreams. In Russia, babushkas who never slept anyway emerged from their homes with weapons that violated several laws of physics and all laws of common sense. How? Zixtheta screamed as his flagship shields buckled under an assault of weaponized insomnia. Our scans showed you were asleep. The response came from Earth's hastily assembled night shift defense force, led by General Patricia Wong, who hadn't slept properly since 2019 and had turned it into a tactical advantage. You scanned for consciousness, you idiots. Her voice crackled across the cosmos. You didn't scan for spite. Humans can operate on pure caffeine and determination for weeks. Sleep is optional when you're properly motivated. The extractor fleet, designed for stealth extraction, not combat, found themselves overwhelmed by a species that had apparently been pretending to sleep while building weapons specifically designed to ruin their day. Humans had reverse-engineered extractor technology from the trace particles left behind, improved it, and then added cup holders. Retreat, Zixtheta ordered, but it was too late. Humanity's true strength wasn't their weapons or their technology. It was their sheer, bullheaded refusal to be victims. Every human who'd ever worked a graveyard shift, every parent who'd survived on 2 hours of sleep, every student who'd pulled an all-nighter, they all understood that sleep was just a suggestion when something important was at stake. The extractor's ships found themselves caught in tractor beams powered by facilities that definitely hadn't existed 12 hours ago. Humans, it turned out, could build infrastructure faster than any species in the galaxy when properly motivated by caffeine and righteous anger. Please, Zixtheta broadcast, his four brains struggling to comprehend his fleet's defeat. We'll return the minerals. We'll pay reparations. Just, how are you all awake? General Wong's laugh could have curdled dark matter. You want to know our secret: Red Bull, spite, and a work culture that glorifies exhaustion. Your species needs synchronized sleep cycles. We've turned sleep deprivation into a competitive sport. The negotiations were brief. The extractors returned every molecule they'd taken, paid damages in technology and resources, and signed treaties promising to never again underestimate a species that invented the 24-hour news cycle. As the extractor fleet limped away, their anthropologists added a new note to humanity's file. Warning: sleep optional, spite eternal. Approach only with caffeine offerings and a legal team. Earth celebrated the only way it knew how, with a global coffee festival that lasted 72 hours straight. Sales of red clothing spiked again, because apparently that was humanity's thing now. The universe learned a valuable lesson. Never try to rob a species that's already robbing itself of sleep. We've had practice being functional while exhausted, and we're very, very good at it. Besides, who needs minerals when you can have the galaxy's respect and a really good espresso machine?